First, I talked about Vin Diesel. Then I talked about Method Man. Now we're talking about Jermaine Jackson. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Never in a million years did I think I would have to do a video talking about Jermaine Jackson, of all people. Nothing against Jermaine Jackson, it's just that he was probably on no one's radar to come up in anything crazy like this. Not saying that he hasn't had anything scandalous happen in his life, but we know when it comes to the Jackson family, we know what family member is the one that was engulfed in a lot of unnecessary scandal. Unfortunately, they are no longer with us. Janet follows by in probably a distant second. But Jermaine Jackson, scandal in his life or not, it must have been low key, but now something has allegedly come out that he allegedly did. And it's crazy because when I talked about Vin Diesel, that was something that allegedly happened 13 years ago. With Method Man, it was something that happened back in the 90s, but they don't want to specify when in the 90s. But this one allegedly happened with Jermaine Jackson and some woman back in 1988. So now we're going back 35, well, by the time y'all see this video, it'll be 36 years. But when I'm recording it, it's still 35 because I'm recording this video on December 29th, 2023. Because apparently, back in 1988, Jermaine Jackson SA'd some woman. Again, 35 years ago at the time of me recording the video. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, here we go again. Jermaine Jackson, Michael Jackson's brother, I don't know why they had to put Michael Jackson's brother as if no one knows who Jermaine Jackson is, but okay, was accused of sexual assault in a lawsuit filed Thursday by Rita Butler Barrett in Los Angeles. Plaintiff is a survivor of SA, sexual battery, sexual abuse, sexual battery, SA, harassment, and violation at the hands of Jermaine Jackson or in or around the spring of 1988, according to the documents obtained by Fox News Digital. Barrett claimed to report the assault to Motown Records founder Berry Gordy, a family friend. In the lawsuit, Barrett alleged Gordy withheld and concealed the acts, further perpetrating the cover-up to protect Jackson's reputation. Barrett knew Jackson through quote-unquote personal or familiar connections, including but not limited to through Berry Gordy of Motown. She claimed that her husband, Ben Barrett, knew Gordy both personally and professionally, while Jackson was in a working relationship with Gordy. Representatives for Jackson, Gordy, and Barrett did not immediately respond to Fox News Digital's request for comment. In the spring of 1988, defendant Jackson forced himself into the plaintiff's home and with force and violence SA the plaintiff, the document stated. Rita claimed that during the assault, she prayed to God for help. Now I'm sitting here saying to myself, granted in 1988, Michael Jackson, I believe, was on his bad tour. So it was like all eyes was on him at the time. Also at that same time, Janet was getting ready to work on was working on material for her Rhythm Nation album, but she was still out there, like people still were well aware of her. But also at the same time, Jermaine Jackson was out there too, because he was making music as well, whether he was maybe writing songs for other people or making his own songs at the same time. And I'm saying to myself, these details that I'm hearing so far from this plaintiff, if this did happen, how did this not make the news? Because the part where they saying, oh, this person, they forced themselves into the house and they did these heinous, monstrous acts to them. How did this not get out to the media? You know, the tabloids were overflowing even back then. Of course, now with social media, it gets out a little bit faster. But I'm saying to myself, how did that not get out there? If this could happen with just a regular person doing this, allegedly, how is it that a person with a big name like Jermaine Jackson at that time, how did that not get out there for national consumption? So I'm a bit confused by this, but let's go ahead and continue. Barrett, quote unquote, feared for her life during the assault, and when the defendant Jackson was satiated, he left the residence. She claimed in the suit 1 day later the plaintiff reported the assaults of Mr. Gordy. Because of his relationships with both defendant Jackson and the plaintiff's family, Mr. Gordy was uniquely situated to both report defendant Jackson's acts and to aid plaintiff during her time of trauma, the suit stated. Instead, Mr. Gordy withheld and concealed the acts, further perpetrating the cover-up and allowing Mr. Gordy, the defendant Jackson, and others in business relationship to continue to reap the profits derived from Mr. Jackson's work and reputation for years to come. Upon information and belief, soon after the assault of plaintiff, Motown was sold for great profit. Barrett claimed, quote unquote, as a result of the assault cover-up and ratification, defendant Jackson and his reputation remained intact while the plaintiff was forced to suffer in silence and shame for decades. Jermaine L. Jackson Music Productions Incorporated and his Works Record Incorporated were also named in the lawsuit. Similar to the New York Adult Survivors Act, the lawsuit was filed as part of California's Sexual Abuse and Cover-Up Accountability Act, which allows survivors of sexual assault, I'm gonna just go flat out and say it, to file lawsuits against entities after the statute of limitations has expired. CAAB 2777 expires on December 31st, 2023. So how ironic that this is coming out. It came out yesterday on December 28th, 2023, and the statute of limitations expires just a mere 3 days later, the last day of the year. And now this pops up. I'm telling you, I'm looking at this story with a side eye. Just like I looked at that Method Man one with a huge side eye, I'm looking at this one the same way. What are the odds that this person is coming up with this now? Not with the statute of limitations that are going away at the end of the year. Literally on the last day, that's when they expire. And now this pops up. I'm telling you, this person is probably looking for a payday. I can't really bring myself to believe their story. I really don't. Because again, the way that they detailed and broke that down, how is it that the media in the world did not know that this occurred? I don't get it. I really don't. And again, this is nothing against people who actually have suffered through actually being violated or almost violated, attempted. Their stories definitely deserve to be out there. But my other thing is 35 years, going on 36 years. And now you say something, and the irony is that that now something gets said when the statute of limitations is literally almost up at the time of me recording the video and at the time this is going out there. I'm confused. Like I said, I'm looking at this with a major side eye, just like I looked at it with a side eye when it came to Vin Diesel as well, especially with Method Man as well, because that person couldn't even specify what year it occurred. At least with Vin Diesel in this one, the people specified a year, but even then I still don't really believe it. But with that one, they didn't even tell a year, but still 35 years. Yeah, I don't really believe their story. And again, this goes back to what I was saying with the Method Man story. This is the curse right here of Me Too and the quote unquote believe all women trope. See, what it is they have a lot of these women come out after years have passed. They give these stories and then they try to make people debate whether or not it's true. And they make sure for some odd reason, they have another black man at the forefront. I mean, this is not, I hope people are understanding and seeing the routine pattern that's occurring here, that's at play right now. And it's like one behind the other. Like literally you had Vin Diesel, that stuff came out last week. Method Man was like, what, a day or two later? And now you have Jermaine Jackson come out literally merely days before the end of the year. And I think I asked in my Method Man video at the end, I could be wrong, I can't remember exactly, asking who was next. I literally got my answer just a few days later. What are the odds? And the Jermaine Jackson of all people. That's why I said it kind of is throwing me off, because I never thought I would ever have to do a video talking about him, especially with something like this hanging over his head. Now, like I said, could it be true? In my mind, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. It's just something real eerie and real sus about this story. It's some holes in this somewhere. Again, yeah, it's practically a witch hunt at this point. And like I said, people gonna feel how they feel when it comes to this situation like this, but really think about all the details that came from this. This happened 35 years ago, allegedly. So you mean to tell me, like, let's hypothetically say you didn't say anything like right then and there, because you said apparently that Berry Gordy worked to keep this under wraps, and Jermaine Jackson worked along with him to help keep this thing under wraps. Apparently he ran into your home and basically violated you right there like a complete savage, and then he left. No news media outlets put anything out about this, and so on and so forth. All these years pass, and now you say something right before the statute of limitations expires. This person, in my opinion, is looking for a payday, just like the rest of them. I'm at that point. You are going to have to come with some hard-hitting evidence and proof from back then that this actually occurred. One thing I also didn't hear or see in this article as I was reading through it was about this person going to the police and filing a report. They said that when this happened, she went and reported the assault to Berry Gordy. Now, why would you go and report this assault to Berry Gordy and not the police? That's law enforcement. Why would you go to Berry Gordy? What was he going to do? That's another red flag. You should have went to the police to say what happened to you, but you ran to Berry Gordy. So now that's another antenna that went up, that's sending out these signals that something is wrong with this person's story. Like, you should have went to the police, gone and got done a violator kit, because I don't want to say the actual word, get a violator kit done to determine that that's exactly what happened. But she didn't do that. She went to Berry Gordy as if he was supposed to really do something. That wasn't his lane. You basically brought something to his doorstep that didn't need to be brought there. You should have went and made a beeline straight to the police and told them what happened. But as I read this article, nowhere in it did it mention that this woman went to the police. Nowhere in it, in any of her statements, did she even say that. And I'm scrolling through right now just to make sure that I didn't miss it, or that I said it and I forgot, because there's a lot of information. But nowhere in it is the word, I don't even think the word police was even mentioned in the article. So yeah, forgive me if I don't believe this woman's story, because I don't. I gave my reasonings as to why. If people still feel some type of way about it, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't really believe this woman's story. I'm sorry. It is what it is.